Thank you everyone for coming to York for this momentous occasion as we head on into the championship. I know we wasn't expected to make it this far. Heck, we wasn't probably even expected to make it to the Football League, but through back-to-back promotions we have found ourselves here in the championship. Now I know you, the media, are expecting us to go crashing out, but we have some brand new signings coming in who will hopefully prove you fine ladies and gents wrong. And well, this season it's going to be more of a consolidation season. We're going to look to build for the future, and well, the board has invested heavily in doing just that. I can already announce that we're going to have a brand new training facility, a brand new youth facility, and brand new youth recruitment network being built. So hopefully our future is much brighter than expected. We have plenty of great players coming into the squad, both old and new. But without further ado, let's head for a behind the scenes look over there. Okay, ladies and gents, so as I announced on that previous screen, we have of course got a brand new training facility, brand new youth facility, and brand new youth recruitment. But we are going to ask the board for more. Yes, we're going to see if Jason McGill will give us even more. Now, we've been at this stadium for a long time, and well, we don't own it. So you know what? We should probably try and buy the stadium. And then if he says no to that, I'm at least going to ask if we can relay the pitch, because every time we've played home games, it seems like our pitch has been in terrible condition. So we're going to make sure our pitch is at least in decent condition. Our players can stay fit, can play to the best of their ability, at least at home. So make a board request. First of all, we're going to head on over to the stadium. And Mr. McGill, I'd like us to buy the stadium. I'm not going to ask us to expand it first, because that would be silly. I would also like if we could possibly relay the pitch. Board will need some time to discuss these items, so we're going to let the board figure out whether they're going to do either of those. But let's have a little look at some of our brand new transfers. Okay, ladies and gents, just over a month out from the start of the season, we have 5 brand new transfers to have a little look at. The first one is Ian Hall. Now, as you can see, he's a right-hand-sided midfielder, valued at 350 grand to 2.3 million. 3-star, 4-star, possibly 5-star potential. He's a solid crosser, 11 crossing, 12 first touch. His passing is down at 8, but as you can see, and he's dribbling at 7, I guess. But generally, he's a very good winger, and he's only 18. He's got plenty of development opportunity. He's going to be a squad player in for 1.1 grand. Nice bit of business too. We got him on a free transfer. As you'll see, he's from Man City's Youth Academy. We have been raiding some of the youngsters coming down from the Premier League. But who else have we acquired? Well, next up, ladies and gents, is another youngster, this time at centre-back, coming in from Newcastle on 1,100. That's basically what I'm offering all the youngsters at this point. 400k to 900k is his valuation. Only 2-star, but still got 4, possibly 5-star potential. I think he can reach at least 3. Nice solid centre back, 13 heading, he can jump at 12, decent bit of pace, decent bit of strength, marking is at 10 and positioning at 10 with 8 on composure. That composure might be the thing that does let him down in the end, but generally speaking, a good all-round youngster. Can play at centre back, he can play on left and right back as well, and possibly on the wings, although I've not really checked out the wings nor the wing backs for the simple fact that he can't cross a ball. He's got 5 crossing. We like our wing backs to get up. If he was more of a defensive, play as a fullback, I might have considered looking at his ability to play on the left and right hand side of defence, but for us, he's a simple central defender. Next up, ladies and gents, is another bit of competition over on that right-hand side of attacking mid. Things are going to get fiery between this guy, Hall, and of course Jaden Williams, as well as some others who can play over there as well. So, 17-year-old youngster Joshua Crompton comes from Liverpool. Yes, another youngster stolen for absolutely nothing. 120 grand to 600 grand is his valuation, 1.1 grand per week. 2028. Now, I believe a lot of these players I've got until 2028 also have additional 3 or 2 year options, so we're good on that front as well. I've locked them in for a long time. Adiapan, thank you. You have taught me well, especially with all your fuss kicking up, then deciding you're okay, then kicking up more fuss again. Anyways, 2.5 star, 4 star, possibly 5 star potential. Does lack a little bit on his crossing with 7, and his off the ball isn't so great. I think he's probably going to be our third choice in terms of those wingers, but he's a pretty solid addition, and worst case, he can go out on loan. We can build his valuation up and sell him on for a little bit of profit. And speaking of Liverpool, ladies and gents, we have of course acquired a nice old player in the legendary Nathaniel Clyne. Right back, of course, can play on the left-hand side and even push it up to that wing, although 10 crossing, we might not necessarily push him up to that right wing so much, especially considering the youngsters we've got in, and of course we have Jaden Williams over there as well. But a solid little addition to our squad. Don't know if he's going to play all the time. Basically, he's better than Titov in technical, better than Titov in mental. He's just physically, of course, not as good as Titov anymore because he's 34 years of age. Does have 14 caps for England though, and 8 at under 21 level. Solid experienced player, 55 grand to 170 grand, but his valuation doesn't really matter to us because we are going to let him retire here. 4 grand per week. It's quite a bit of money to be paying for him, but to be honest, I couldn't help myself, especially when you consider the fact that Liverpool did buy him for 12.5 million from Southampton back in 15-16, and they, of course, acquired him for only 2.5 from Crystal Palace down in 2012-2013. And an interesting bit of news on this game, he went back... Oh, sorry, real life news. He went from Liverpool to Bournemouth, back to Liverpool. That was, of course, a loan. He then went to Crystal Palace on a free transfer. Nice bit of business there by Liverpool. Free transferring a player you pay 12.5 million for. Not the greatest bit of business, but in game he's stayed at Crystal Palace for a couple of seasons and then went Celtic on loan before going to America. Because why not? Every retiree has to eventually go to America and play in the MLS. So he went to Charlotte for a couple of seasons, went to Miami FC, where he did eventually play, because Charlotte apparently only wanted to use him for 7 games in 1 game. Did solid for Miami, though, in his 12 games, getting 5 assists and 3 player of the matches. And hopefully he can come down to the Championship, which he hasn't been in since Crystal Palace in 11-12. And rounding out our 5 transfers thus far is a player that Miles might actually be quite familiar with. And that, of course, is Georges Baez. Yes, I'm going to call him Georges. Now, 90 grand to 275 grand is his valuation, 4 grand per week. I had to tell him he's going to be an important player. And to be fair, that's pretty damn reasonable. The only thing that worries me about that is he's 29 years of age and he might be on the downcline. But as you can see, in terms of his ability, he's a very good player. Now, we won't be using him as advanced playmaker, but we'll use him as an attacking midfielder in that cam spot, and as you can see, he's pretty damn good at it. Now, at the moment, we do have a few issues in central midfield, so I believe he is covering at deep line playmaker, and as you can see, he can do that pretty damn good as well. His positioning does lack a little bit on 8. Now, he does like to try killer balls often, which pretty good for a playmaker, I guess. Argues with officials, which isn't going to be great for his card numbers. Plays 1-2s, nice for us, and dictates tempo rather nicely too. So he's going to be a pretty useful player. 4-star, 4-star potential. As you can see, Watford ended up letting go of him on a free transfer to Swansea, where he stayed till 2021. Went out on loan to Pompey down in League One, which is a bit weird because if you look at this, 1920, he played 35 games for Swansea. They then decided, you know what, we're not going to use you at all next season. So then he went down to League One on loan for 14 games. Weird. Don't know how you go from using a player 35 games a season, scoring 2 goals, mind you, to then not using him at all. We then have Portsmouth loaning him 14. He then went Sheffield on a nice little bit of business from them. They only used him 1 game though, so maybe not so good, although they did then manage to sell him on for profit. 220 grand by Peterborough. He played 38 games for them in the Championship, 1 goal, 4 assists, 1 player a match at 6.92. So we know he can come up to the Championship and do it. He did it for Peterborough. He then went and did it for Swansea. Not quite so much though. Again, they just don't like using him. I don't know why Swansea keep buying him. They bought him for 210 grand this time and only used him 7 times. Not the greatest bit of business. 6.67 average there. He's then not been playing for them last season. And hopefully we can give him some game time, he can get some form going, and he can get himself some goals. But it is, of course, time to find out who will be our captain this year. Captain, no captain, where shall we find our captain? Well, I think I might actually go for the recommended one on this one, Georges Baez. He's planned to be a starter for us this season, and as you can see, 13 leadership, 13 teamwork. There is quite a few players we could possibly go for, more heart than head. We could possibly go for a Nathaniel Klein or a Joe Allen or a Sam Vokes, solid players in their own right. Even a Pedder or Titov or some of these others like Brandon. I could possibly give it to Brandon, but I think we're going to be smart about this. We're going to give it to Georges. Hopefully Georges doesn't get too many yellow or red cards. Hopefully he can be in most of our games and not get himself suspended too much. And he shall be our captain. Now, in terms of vice-captain, we currently have Sam Vokes. Now, Sam Vokes, not quite sure what we're going to do with him. He was our record transfer striker. I would like to get a better striker in. He's probably going to be our starting striker this season, though. So, I think we'll keep it with Sam Vokes regardless if he ends up on our bench or not. I think Sam Vokes is still going to be quite a vital part of our season. So, we're going to keep him on the vice-captain. We're going to give Georges the actual captain. And we're going to come back if I've got some more news or transfers for you, fine, ladies and gents. Welcome, ladies and gents, the estranged love child of Frank Lampard and John Terry. That, of course, is Frankie Terry, coming in from Colchester for 325 grand. I also forgot to mention on one of the other transfers, Nathaniel Klein. We did pay a little bit of money for him, 65 grand. Yes, that's 65 grand I did burn, but you know what? It's Nathaniel Klein. Makes it a little bit more interesting. We've got to get some quirky names in, even if we know they're not necessarily going to be as good as they were. But Frank Terry, how good is Frank Terry, and where on earth does Frank Terry play? That is the question. He's 21 years of age and he's a centre-back, although as you can see he can also play on the left, and it likes him to play on the left, but he's not. He's going to be our centre-back, coming in at 3.5 star, 4 star potential, possibly 5. He's valued at 350 grand to 1.3 million, so not a bad little bit of business. Now, I had to tell him he's a star player, and he is on quite a bit of money, 7.25 grand per week, in fact, but he's here till 2029, and I believe I do have the option, yes, 3-year option on his contract. So he's definitely going to be staying till he's quite old. We're going to be keeping him around a while. Prior to Colchester, Colchester in League 1, by the way, so he is making the step up, but he did make a 6'9" and a 6'9" making the step up with much of our squad, in fact. He prior was on loan to Eastleigh in the conference, played 42 games, had a solid time down there. Prior to that, he was on loan at Colchester, which is a little bit weird. Wait. 2021, he was a Colchester player. Colchester loaned him to Dorking, but then Colchester loaned him to themselves? Or did they loan him to Dorking? No, because that's the next season. So he should have been back. I don't know how this is. They're paying themselves. So there's some sort of money laundering system. Anyways, Colchester player, had a couple of times out at Dorking and Eastleigh, but now he comes to York. Hopefully he can have a great time at centre-back. We, of course, brought him in just in case we couldn't get Shipley back. But guess what, ladies and gents? Shipley is back for yet another season, and I've negotiated him down to being a squad player, so he can chill out on our bench now. We've now got Terry, who can go into the lineup. We've got Shipley, who's going to be a backup, who we know is an amazing centre-back anyways, who can cover the left-hand side as well. The only downside to that is his club did want me to then put in the ability to bring him back, so that's a little bit of an issue, but it's okay. We've got better centre-backs now. I love Shipley still. Like I said, offered the loan because I wanted to get Shipley back. I like Shipley, but we have better options at the club. But the question is, do we have more players on the way? Okay, so no more news on the transfer front just yet. We are still looking at making a better goalkeeping acquisition, but we're going to find out whether that works out in a little bit. But right now, as you can see, the buy-in stadium request has been rejected by the board. To be fair, I was pushing the boat out a little bit, asking for that, so I'm not too surprised. Planned pitch relay, though. Ooh, so they have accepted the relaying of the pitch. Now, how much is that going to... Okay, we agree that a poor pitch isn't conducive to attractive football. We will relay the pitch in the off-season. Okay, so they're not telling us how much that's going to cost. Interesting. And then we have an approach to sign... Do I care? 23-year-old George Sheringham. Do I really care? He's a non-league player. We really don't care. Go for it. Go for it. Now, as you can see, Chanza has gone and got himself a brand new contract. Nice little contract there. Lawson also has a nice contract. By the way, when I was going on about the central midfield, that's in fact because we might actually be trying Lawless in our midfield. He's a pretty decent player by now. He had that amazing time down in the conference. As you can see, he's now up to a 3-star. Although I am planning on using him more in this cam spot than back here. I believe that was because of... No, it wasn't his work rate. I think it was because of this 8 composure and his 5 tackling. I thought, you know what, get him further up the pitch where he doesn't have to worry about tackling so much. He's a decent player, as you can see, last year in the Conference North. Got himself 11 goals, 11 assists, 7 player of the match and 7.41. So very much above his station down in the Conference North. He's definitely a League 1, League 2 player at least. He might be able to make the step up. If he can't, it's okay, he can go sit on our bench, he'll be nice off the bench player. And we've got a bruised ankle for Sean Goss, but I'll bring you back in just a second when we have a little bit more news. Okay, ladies and gents, so my initial plan was to go all the way through pre-season, bring you back and show you some brand new transfers, which we have made. We've made 2 brand new transfers, one coming in before the start of the season and one coming during the middle of the season. But as you can probably tell from my camera, had a few little issues. First of all, there was a power cut last night when I was recording. Then we had a second one later on in the night, and well, I found my green screen has now been a pain in the backside this morning. Now, to give you a little bit of context, last night was the night before this video is going out, and this morning is literally midday, the day of release. Hopefully the day of release, if I can get it out today. Hopefully it should be done by then. So, few little issues, but a little bit of good news. As you can see, the board is asking me if I want a brand new contract. So let's attend this meeting and then we'll have a little look at those brand new transfers, because I can't see us bringing in anyone else. If we do, of course, then I'll let you know. But right now, we would like to gauge your opinion on whether to discuss a new contract. Of course I would like a brand new contract. I love it. What a show of unity and stability. So, let's get our new contract sorted with Mr. Jason McGill. Okay, ladies and gents, we're here at the managerial page to have a little look at our current contracts and compare it to the brand new one we are being offered by York. Now, as you can see, we're on $2,100 per week till the 30th of the 6th, 2026. Now, currently got a Continental B license and would like to improve that at some point. Maybe I'll ask the board, but... a little bit of good news on the relationship front. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is an acquaintance. Not to worry about Eddie Gormley being an acquaintance, nor do I really care that there's a worst opinion from John Sheridan of all people. But, as you can see, we are looking pretty good on tactical consistency, handling, approach, etc. Looking pretty darn good. Gegenpress 4-2-3-1. As you already know, 4-2-3-1 is my favourite formation. Second preference is unknown. Well, I'll leave that for the media to try and figure out. You fine, ladies and gents, might have a good idea what my second preference is, but without further ado, let's have a little look at that brand new contract. Get your guesses in, folks, because it's $2,500 per week. Right, they want us to play attacking football, possession football, high-tempo football, sign players under 23. Nothing's really changed. Ongoing, they want to expand the stadium, but they don't want to buy the stadium, which seems a little bit silly. Maybe buy the stadium, then expand it. That's an asset that you own, and you're not expanding someone else's assets for them, but okay, whatever. Anyways, FA Cup, be competitive. Carabao Cup, second round minimum. Fight bravely against relegation. Let's start negotiation though. They want it to be a 3-year deal for 2.5. You know what? Avoid relegation, we get 5,700. That's not too bad. Top division. We don't want the relegation. Let's do that. Let's remove the relegation and let's move it to £3 grand. £3 grand, lads. How about that? Will you take that? 2.6. Okay, what about if we just take the relegation part out? Fine. If you want the relegation part in, can we make it 2.8? 2.7? Meet me halfway. Okay. So we've got it up to 2.7 grand. Unfortunately, we do have the relegation wage drop at 35%, but we do get promotion somehow. 15% is not too bad. And if we avoid relegation, well, we get ourselves just under 6 grand. So not too shabby. I will of course bring you fine ladies and gents back, and let's have a little look at those two brand new additions. Okay, so as you all know, I was looking for a goalkeeper to round out our transfers, and well, I did manage to find one. Unfortunately, not quite as experienced as I would have liked. I would have liked to come in with a 4-star, maybe 5-star goalkeeper, someone with a bit of experience in the Championship, maybe the Premier League. But instead, we have Shamal George. A little bit of a gamble. This guy was absolutely amazing last season, but much like Adam Prisbeck, he's going to have to make the step up this year. So he's 3.5-star. Worst case scenario, we've got Prisbeck on the bench, of course, but I'm hoping Shamal George can be our brand new starter. So like I was saying, 3.5-star current ability, 4-star ability, 100 grand to 600 grand is his valuation, 7,000 per week till 2029. He's an important player, and I believe I did give him the option extension as well. As you can see, a very well-rounded goalkeeper. Some things Prisbeck's a little bit better, some things he's a little bit better. I think the things he lacks are things that don't necessarily bother us so much. So as you can see, his kicking is down at 9, but he's got better aerial reach. He's got more agility than Prisbeck. I believe Prisbeck's agility is 9 compared to 12. His determination's nice and strong at 16. He avoids using his weaker foot, decent reflexes, throwing, etc. Comparatively, is slightly better than Prisbeck in a few more areas, and that is why I brought him in. But where is Shamal George from, and how much did I bring him in? Well, if you remember from last year, he's from Colchester, and we spent 250 grand, so not the lightest bit of transfer. We have put a bit of money into him. They picked him up on a free transfer from the Northern Premier League. Oh, sorry, no, they picked him up from Liverpool. He was on loan in the Northern Premier League, though, for 13 games. Interesting career. Interesting indeed. So, Liverpool youngster, went out on loan to Carlisle for 4 games in League 2. He then went out on loan to League 2, didn't play with Tranmere. He then went out on loan to the Northern Premier League, which is a bit of a weird drop down, and then went on a free transfer to Colchester in League 2, played 15 games, played 40-odd games, got 6-7, played 40-odd games, got 6-8, played 40-odd games, got 6-8, played 40-odd games, got a 6.93, and now he's going to make the step up with us. Okay, sorry, I don't know if you caught it in the last segment. It really depends how I end up editing that bit. But the window cleaner then decided to turn up after weeks of just not bothering. He decided to turn up right as I was recording that last segment. So, bit of a pain in the backside, but as you can see, we have brought in a brand new player coming in during the mid-season. I believe he comes on the 1st of January. I might be wrong on that one. Yes, 1st of January. It's right there in front of me. Why don't I just read it? Much simpler. And that player, of course, is Vladimir Vice. He is, of course, 35 years of age now. 90 caps for Slovakia, though. 14 goals in those. 8 at under 21 level and 1 goal at under 21 level 2. He of course is a winger. He can play in central midfield and up front, but mainly on those wings. He's very much like a more experienced version of Billy Chadwick. As you can see, physically he's holding up pretty well, so hopefully he's holding up pretty well when he eventually comes to us. Now, if I remember rightly, he's on a 1-year contract, or I should say about a 6-month contract. If he plays the games, he will get an extension for an extra year. I believe that's after 15 matches. As you can see, technical ability is there. His first touch is still really solid at 16. Decent bit of physical for a guy who's 35 years of age, and of course his mentals are there too. Not quite there on the leadership, but off the ball at 13 he's pretty damn good, and his vision's 13 to 16 too. But also, not too bad with the set pieces. He's crossing corners, dribbling. He's still pretty darn good. He is valued at 18 grand to 170, but that's more of a reflection on his age. Coming in from San Antonio, by the way, on a free transfer. This guy has been pretty much everywhere. He's got plenty of experience. So first of all, he started off in Slovakia. Manchester City picked him up for an undisclosed fee for 06-07 season. Didn't use him for a few years before sending him out on loan to Bolton Wanderers, where he finally got himself a reasonable bit of Premier League experience. He had 1 game for Man City in 08-09. Bolton Wanderers gave him 13 games in 09-10. He then went out on loan to Rangers, where we would argue he probably had one of his better seasons. 5 goals in 22 games out on loan for them. He then got 2 goals out on loan at Espanyol in 28 games in 11-12. Before then going out on a transfer for $2 million to Italy's Pescara. Got a decent bit of games there as well. 22 games, 4 goals there. Before free transfer over to Greece. Only played 17 games in Greece. Got 4 goals in them. Pretty solid job over at Olympiacos. And then, of course, the Qatari side came sniffing for a previous Premier League player. Someone they can put up on the posters and say, he's here in Qatar. So, Weiss became the poster child of Lekhawia, who is now called Al Duhail. And well, he was there for 3 seasons, had a pretty solid time. He then went to Al Gharafa, which I really want to call Al Gaddafi, don't ask me why. He was there from 15-16 all the way up to 19-20 before going on a free transfer back to Slovakia. And well, Slovan Bratislava was the team that picked him up. Only used him twice though in that first season, but he then started building his way into the team. He stayed there till 24-25 after a few good seasons. 3 seasons in a row at a 7+ rating. Went to New England for 53 grand. They picked him up. Only played him 11 times. Got a 6.7. Did pretty okay. Could probably do better. Then did a 6-6 in 6 games the following season. And then he went to San Antonio. Well, San Antonio revitalised him after that free transfer. Got himself a goal in 12 games, 2 assists, and 1 player of the match, as well as a 7.1 rating. So hopefully it can be a bit more San Antonio and a bit less New England here. But we'll have to find out when he comes in that January window. Okay, ladies and gents, a little bit of a good news, bad news situation. As you can see, we brought in a brand new central midfielder in Sorensen, and well, he comes in for 210 grand from Lincoln. The bad news, as you can see though, is Goss. He's upset about his developments. And well, to be honest, Goss, you had an amazing season. We'll quickly have a little look at his history. He had a fantastic season last season, but honestly, Sorensen is just better. He's younger, he's better. As you can see, Sorensen, only 25 years of age. I've had a little look comparatively at the D-play and playmaker role, which they would both be playing. And well, Sorensen is just, quite frankly, better in 90% of situations. Dictates tempo as well, and does not dive into tackles, which is nice from your central midfielder. He's very unlikely to get himself sent off. Kuhn getting sent off in the opening game, and well, is in for 7 grand per week. Quite expensive, but you know what, that's not a bad little contract for him. 3-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. He's a Great Dane at 25. Not going to go through all his stats because we will be here all day if I do. That is his history, but basically he came from Denmark. Stoke picked him up for 150 grand back in 15-16. Went out on loan to Donny for a season. Lincoln then picked him up for 50 grand. Nice bit of business by Lincoln in League 1. He played heavily for Lincoln in League 1 before going to League 2 for a couple of seasons with them. Coming back up to League 1, all 4 seasons. Did a solid job, and now he's with us, making the step up to the Championship. But I'm going to go talk to Goss, and then we'll crack on with today's game. Okay, so hopefully the majority of the craziness in my life today is out of the way and we can finally get on with today's game as we're taking on Fulham. Now, I am going to be keeping an eye on the Bournemouth Hull City game for personal reasons, of course. Being from Hull myself, I want Hull City to do well, especially considering I've got personal ties there as well, both through college friends and both through my parents. Yep, anyways, not going to go on about that too much to get on with here today. 24th versus 7th. We are expected to finish bottom of the league, and Fulham is probably expected to be pushing for promotion. It's 19,926 tickets being sold out for 29,700 capacity. Very good pitch condition here today. Gusty, 25 degrees. Do it. Apply those opposition instructions. We're on a positive to a cautious mentality. You know what? That's a good approach. We are going to drop down to cautious mentality. I did forget to tweak that. So we are going to tweak it now. As you can see, our team is at full strength. Nobody is out injured at the moment. So our team going forward, hopefully, as long as we don't get any injuries, of course, is George in goal. The back line of Fleming, Terry, Adipan and Nathaniel Klein. Our wings are Lubala and Williams. In between is Byers and Rowley and Sorensen in central midfield. Up front is Samuel Vokes, although I would like to improve Samuel Vokes and push him down to the bench in place of Berahino. We then have Hall on the bench alongside Lawless, Goss, Shipley, Titov and Prisbeck. Yes, we've got a couple of the youngsters, the brand new youngster in Hall and the youngster in Lawless, who has been out on loan down in the conference, been doing rather well and hopefully can come and shine up in the championship, at least as a super sub. So without further ado, let's submit the team. Enough rambling from me. Sorensen is lacking a bit of match sharpness because he did come in towards the end. I believe he's had one, yes, he had one game. He played against Clitheroe in a friendly on the Tuesday. I then rested him for 3 days before today's game. So let's just crack on with it. Let's crack on. Enough rambling. Punch fists. Give a bit of motivation. We've got nothing to lose here. We know how good we can be. Let's show them what we are capable of, lads. Probably a 3-0 loss. Probably a 4 or a 5-0 loss, but come on, let's put on a good show here today. Now, we are going to change this because it still says League 1, which is why I was rather confused when I read Exeter. The very first thing I read was Exeter on that list. And yeah, also Bournemouth 1-0 up against Hull City. Rather disappointing there. Stoke 1-1 against Ipswich, of course. Hopefully that's not the Greenwood who shall not be named. Hopefully Ipswich. Not going to be happy with you if you've been picking up Greenwood. Bournemouth now 2-0 up. Peterborough, by the way, 1-0 up against QPR. Lee, you'll be happy about that one, my friend. Blackburn 1-0 up against Barnsley. And, well, Luton is 1-0 up against Birmingham. And that, my friends, is where we shall be going in the next episode. But right now, it's 0-0 and we shall take that 0-0 away to Fulham. Not too bad. You know what, lads? Come on. We've been the better team. I know we're underdogs. Go out there and give these... No. I'm happy so far. Keep it going. No gesture. Happy so far. Lads, you are doing an amazing job. You're expected to get slapped about here today, and you are putting on a performance. Right. Finally got the highlight. George could play it out to Adipan. Adipan straight up to Lubala. He plays it to Byers. Byers through to Vokes. Vokes now out wide to Lubala. Two of the old guard playing down this left-hand side. He pulls it back to Fleming. Fleming, of course, joined just last season. Ball over the top. Tries to get to Lubala. It's a little too far, though. Holding's going to intercept it, and it's now with Sessignon. Sessignon over to Stevens. Stevens ball over to Muniz. Muniz coming down this left-hand side. Can he get past our defence, though? Klein is going to be the one to close him down. He's going to be chased back. It's ball over the top. Surely he's offside, ref. Offside? No. He slid it in the bottom corner. No. No. He looked offside. Guess he's not. Was our left back playing him onside, perhaps? Fleming. Brandon. We need to see another one of this. Ooh, it might have been Brandon Fleming over here who was playing him just onside. Well, I guess we're going to have to try and go for it. We're going to have to go positive. Going to have to try and strike back. We have a 6-2 out of Lubala. He is having a rough time of things right now. And so is Brandon, or 6-3 right now. Brandon, my friend, not what we like to see. So, Shipley He's going to go out to that side. You know what? How's Nathaniel Klein doing? A 6-5 on a yellow card. I might give Titov a run out. Yellow card is the thing that's worrying me. You know what? You know what? Hall, come out there. Williams can swap to this wing. Although Williams doesn't particularly want to swap to that wing. Okay, maybe we don't swap him to that wing there. Fine. Haha. Haha. Brandon, your punishment for being a bad left back right now is I'm going to give you a chance to go play up on the wing. Not quite sure that's punishment, but it's punishment. You've got to go up there and try and assist some players. We've then got Rowley's on a 6-4 as well. You know what? Sorensen, what can you do in terms of other positions? You are pretty well rounded. So we'll do Goss and Sorensen. Sorensen can slide across. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do with them two right now. And we are a little bit early on our subs, I will admit. A little bit early, but we do need to get a change going. Wilson, free kick, whips it in, back post, Terry nods it away, out to Fleming, Fleming on the counter attack. Can he get down that left hand side? No, he's going to play up to Vokes instead. Vokes across to Goss, we've got space on this right hand side. Williams, can he make use of it? Tries to get it across to Fleming instead. It's over to Tetty though. It's up to Wilson now. Wilson, ball over the top again. It's with Motika. Motika going down this left hand side. Tens gets it into Muniz, and Muniz, my friends, looks like he's got a second one, unless he's offside, perhaps. Assistant, Mr. Television Man. No, we're not going to the man in the telly. So, looks like it's going to be a rough start to this season. It's expected. Also, Hull City, by the way, bravely fighting back in that Bournemouth game right now, which is nice to see. Byers, though, right now is also rather tired. So, Lawless, you can come on. Get a little bit of time for the youngster in today's game against Fulham. We shall work the ball into the box. Or not. It's going to just pop off while I go to press it. Okay. Reed. Ball over the top. It hits the back of our defender's head. It's now going to be... Ooh, nice interception by Klein. 1-2 between him and Adipan. It's now George. George gets it over to Terry. Terry back to George. George has had a rough game here today. 6.4. Conceded 2 goals. To be honest, I can let that go. Fleming, though. 6-2. 6-2. You've got worse since I moved you out to the wing. Not good at all. He's been struggling a lot against Fulham. And Williams, my friend, you can't dive in through the back of your man. Looks like the youngster Hall is going to get his opportunity at the next game. Fleming right now. You know what? You know what? Rocket ship time. Get our rocket ship out. Got a player sent off. Not a whole lot we can do. Let's just try not to concede too many. We're going to accept the defeat. We're down to 10 men. We're getting beaten up. We've got players struggling. Let's just drop back. We'll have 5 at the back. Maybe hit them on the counter-attack. Because Williams, getting sent off there, you really put... And now Klein. Okay. Well, Titov and Hall are going to be playing on the right-hand side next game, clearly. Who is going to move out to the right-hand side? Adipan? Do you like to play over there? I cannot remember. I honestly cannot remember. Who is the best option? Adipan or Sorensen can play back there. Interesting. Okay. Okay, things have gone from bad to worse. As we are currently 2-0 down and probably looking at a third or possibly fourth goal coming right now as Swift plays it inside to Matika. Matika's going to turn and pass it back to Swift. Swift's got plenty of space. He's ran through our defence. In fact, that was far too easy. I know we are down to 9 men. But Swift, he walked through our defence. We had players there. It's not even like we was lacking players in that spot. It's this whole cluster of players pretending that they're a bunch of 7-year-olds playing football for the first time. just let Swift walk through our defence. Rather pathetic, lads. Rather pathetic. I get it. We're supposed to be fighting relegation. This is not fighting. This is going down without a fight. Not what we want to see. Some good news though. Hull City did manage to pull it back to 3-3. But I'm going to go berate the lads. I thank you all for joining us. I'm sorry about this dismal performance from the lads. But hopefully we can bounce back better as we take on Birmingham in the next one. So, I thank you all for joining us. I hope you all have a lovely night and goodbye.